Let's get into what the papers are reporting this morning. And to help us do this, we have Victoria Bright. She is a lawyer and an entrepreneur. Good morning to you, Vic.
Good morning.
I hope you're well.
How are you?
I'm well.
Very well.
Your weekend went well?
Thank you.
It went well, huh? Your weekend went well?
Yes, it did.
Okay.
It did, yes.
All right. I mean, some weddings and naming ceremonies, I guess. Anyway. James Bonfer, Junior PhD, CEO of Census and lecturer at UPSA. James, good morning.
Good morning.
All well?
Thank you.
Okay.
Good.
And Wanda Madilo is a member of the NDC's communications team. Wanda, good morning.
You won't say that I'm a development analyst.
Oh, you're a development analyst.
Of course.
Oh, beautiful. Oh, he is a development analyst. So today, he'll help us in analyzing our development challenges here. Anyway, let's start as we do always by giving you some 2 minutes to tell us what issues you want to clear before we go into the papers. Let me start with you, Lawyer Vic.
Yeah, I was reading that the CEO of Mobic Energy was urging the youth of Takwa to stop sports betting, gambling. I mean, this is something that's very dear to my heart because the youth are really the very essence of our country. They're the future of the nation. And so I'm particularly happy that people are now, influential people are also adding to the various voices on this matter. People see it as harmless, but it's something that's creeping like a canker into our society. It's causing mental health and emotional issues for the youth, addiction, dependency, and there's a lot of depression, anxiety. People are using their school fees to do betting.
And other people's money.
And other people's money. Employees are stealing employers' money to do betting. So it's something that we really have to address. We have to tackle it and address it as a nation, because they often have these shops in the most deprived parts of the country, so they know what they're doing. And I think that we really ought to bring it to the fore of our discussions and do something about it before it's too late. And one thing I just want to urge the youth, please, stop it, because this is something, you'll wake up one day and you're 40 years old or 50 years old and you would have achieved nothing with your life. So think about that, because you can't, this is not what is going to make you wealthy or give you a future. So if you want a future, stay in school, study hard, work hard, and create a future for yourself and your would-be family.
And I guess the speaker, the CEO of Mobic, his life story can then be an example for the youth of Takwa.
Yes.
Because he came up from nothing to build the sort of business that he's built.
Yes, a very successful business.
Yes.
So yes, learn from the right people, not the wrong people.
James Bonfer, PhD.
Mine is to do with commitment to traffic regulation, especially in respect of persons with disability who signal and show that they want to cross. If you look at the Disability Act, Act 715, it's clear on the use of the road by persons with disability that when a driver observes or sees a person with disability, and in this case, we will theorize older persons who have difficulty in walking as part of persons with disability. Once you see them signal that they want to cross the road, you have to stop for them. Over the weekend, I had the terrible experience of, virtually having to get down to stop somebody who was. I had stopped for an old woman to pass, not too far, towards the Dome railway lines. And this Sunday, this woman, I think she was going to church, and she was walking quite slow. This driver behind me was forcing to overtake me. As if I don't know. I didn't want to move, and I was just relaxing on the road. We should be careful. Another incident occurred at the University of Ghana the same day. when I had stopped for the students to, cross, this car will not stop and was virtually coming to run into them. We have got to respect the rules on the road. And that is the only way we can keep a disciplined society. Laws are meant to be obeyed, not to be disregarded. And if we will come together and obey these basic rules, our society will function better.
Yeah. You remind me of an incident the other day on the Abri Road. There were two Benz cars, and they were, because it's a double lane, they were communicating with each other. And I was like,
what they have rolled their glass down and
yes.
with each other.
So park
and talk.
When you're done,
move.
And when I tried to, say like, no, what you're doing
is wrong.
The guy I was like,
you flare up.
You are lucky I don't have a lot of time. I would have parked then.
And dealt with you.
Because really, two cars communicating with each other on the road, whilst a lot of us are. So really, the traffic laws and how people disobey them is something that we need to do something about.
I don't know where people are in a hurry to go to. I mean, take your time.
Yeah.
Sometimes you might hurry somewhere you don't want to get to. So take your time.
And I think it's even divine that certain things happen to you
exactly
on the way.
So just cause you to pause.
Yeah. Because just seconds ahead, maybe
exactly.
something.
But just attendant to that is an article I read last week about how, the cost of transport, travel, by the fact of our poor and bad roads is costing us in terms of development. I traveled to Kintampo last Wednesday, and I left Accra at 2 p.m. I got to Kumasi at 8 p.m.
6 hours.
If somebody was traveling from Accra to London, the person would have.
Yes. Yeah.
What is the mileage? What is it? I mean, so it's so difficult to travel now. From Accra to Cape Coast is another nightmare. Why? And we're not concerned about these things. But others.
And it has a direct impact to development.
Of course.
Yes. And
transport.
Interesting. Wanda Madilo. Let me come to you. I don't know. Once you're a development analyst,
I'm
maybe
very
you do.
particular about what's happening in Boku.
Okay.
The crisis, has gone beyond what anybody would have expected for a small country like Ghana to have this crisis for all these years. It's affecting school attendance. It's affecting service delivery like water, electricity. It's affecting the economic life of the people. And most especially, we're losing lives, And I think that is become, I don't know if it's become normal or it's become, because we hear of death in Boku now and it's as if,
everything is fine. It's okay.
I think that's a worrying trend for all of us. What is it that is the issue? We know that there are boundary disputes. We know that there are chieftaincy disputes. We know that there is supremacy or whatever disputes and all that. Can we close this matter once and for all?
How do we do it?
So if you ask me, I can't sit because you have the likes of Asantehene as the one mediating. I can't sit on radio and say some things, but indeed there are several tried and tested ways of dealing with such conflicts when it has to do with chieftaincy, dispute over boundaries and all that. I have always stated that government must show a lot of force in some of these things. When I say force, not being violent, but show that you own the lands and you are the one who has the vested interest in all these lands. I mean, relocation is one of the possible ways. You like it, you don't like it, this is where we're taking you to, and you have to go by it. That's one. Number two, the economic challenges that they have over there, how do we solve it? Is it the case that there are no businesses, no opportunities, employment opportunities, for which reason many people are unemployed, and so these have become their way of exploiting the system to make ends meet? How do we do that? Is it about chieftaincy? What is the history saying? And if it's about chieftaincy, what is the way forward? I think that it will help the country, you know. Boku, where it is strategically as a farming environment, where we can actually use as a food basket for the entire country and even to export to nearby countries like Cote d'Ivoire, Burkina and Togo. I think that we should be able to resolve these issues going forward. Because they have a lot of eminent chiefs on this, you know, project of unifying or sanitizing the environment, I will expect government to do something as quickly as possible. It has become one too many. Every now and then you hear of escalations of violence, and one group is attacking the other, and all that, and all that, and all that. I think it's worrying, and we can, as a country, put this to rest once and for all.
Okay.
It's been many years, over 20, something 30 years running, and you hear these pockets of things. It goes down, then it comes back later, and all that. Preemptive, you know, security would help some of these issues. And some people have to be picked out of the area, banned from entering the area for life. You know, and these are the you know, measures that has to be taken in the interest and peace of this place. Because now they have an MP who is not even able to go there because of the risk. He has to go there protected without. Imagine the volumes of security, you know, expenditure in that area, keeping the military on the ground daily, police daily, and all the other relief items that go there and all that. So, and then also, economic activity is going to halt because you go to, you can only wake up in the morning, 6 o'clock, by 4 p.m. you have to be home, and the whole night nothing is happening until the following day. So these are worrying trends. And now if cars have to go through by 6 o'clock, cars will have to park, wait until morning, and then you have to go with a police escort or military escort to go through the town and all that. I think that this is something that we need to pay attention to.
Okay, all right. That's from Wanda Madilo there. Let's get into the papers. I have the Daily Graphic and the Today newspaper. Vicky, I don't know which papers you have.
I have the Ghanaian Publisher and the Ghanaian Times.
Okay. Dr. Bonfe, which paper do you have?
The Economy Times.
Okay. Wanda.
Economy Times.
Okay.
I have BNFT, Business and Financial Times, and then the Custodian.
Okay. All right. Let me start with the Daily Graphic. And on the front page, it says, presidential jet grounded, air travel worthiness uncertain. Ablekuma North violence, tame electoral vigilantism, experts advocate. Affordability barrier to chronic disease treatment, NHIA study. New visa policy not about length of stay, U.S. Embassy. Let me start with the Ablekuma North violence. That story is written by Albert K. Salia and Samuel Dodu. Now, 4 professionals with expertise in security, governance and peace building have said that the pocket of violent incident that marred the limited rerun of the Ablekuma North parliamentary election exposed the deep fractures in Ghana's democratic fabric. They have consequently called for urgent reforms to prevent the resurgence of vigilantism in the country's political fabric. Quote, the lesson is unmistakable. Democracy must be defended not merely through voting, but through the integrity of institutions and processes that uphold it. Ahead of the upcoming by-election in Akotia constituency, likely to become a litmus test of Ghana's resolve, concrete steps must be taken to restore public confidence and protect the sanctity of the vote, as security expert Colonel Festus Abwaje, retired, stated. Vicky, let me start with you. I'm sure you followed what was the happenings on Friday. What did you make of those happenings when you were watching?
I was shocked, actually. You know, this is Ghana. We don't like this kind of behavior here. We're a democracy, and we are one of the most established democracies on the continent. And it's a badge we wear with national pride. And it's a badge which we should not do anything to dirty, you know, to make dirty, to mar in any way. I just could not believe what I was seeing. People on the ground being kicked, slapping women, you know, one of your journalists, Sally.
Yeah.
She was assaulted. I mean,
Yes,
that's a threat to press freedom and democracy. How does a man slap a woman like that?
Very young lady.
What was a young lady? What was she doing? She was just trying to do her job. Are you trying to intimidate journalists now? You know, so we need to be careful. We need to be very careful because we've worked hard to get to where we are now. That said, this is not the first time we've had this in the country. And, you know, we kind of talk about it for a bit and then we don't do anything about it. Of course, we had the Vigilantes and Related Offences Act in 2019. And I think various civil society groups have called for an ally to strengthen its implementation. That has not been done yet. But this is an act that we must enforce. I mean, some of these people, in fact, we can see them. You know, the cameramen picked, you know, we can see who they are. So I believe that this kind of violence cannot be tolerated in our society because it just escalates, doesn't it? If we don't stop it now, what will happen in Akwatia when we get there? This was only 19 polling stations, only 19.
And Akwatia, we've had one before.
And we've had one before in Akwatia. So we need to really do some self-introspection as a people. At the end of the day, we're all Ghanaians. Whether you're MPP, PPP, NDC, whatever, the most important thing is that we are Ghanaians. What if someone had died? It would have been tragic and needless, like we had those eight people dying, you know, in one election. So let's value ourselves, our lives a lot more, and let's do the right thing. And it has to be said that this is just a minority of people who are doing these things. Yeah. I think it's wrong to say it's NDC doing it or somebody else doing it or whatever. It's a handful of people who are doing these things. You know, because look at the number of supporters that MPP has as a party. Look at the number of supporters that NDC has as a party. So if it was, you know, if the majority of the party's supporters decided to do this thing, I mean, the whole country would descend into chaos. So I think it's a handful of people who are seriously misbehaving, and they use these by-elections as an excuse to just vent and, you know, perpetrate acts of violence. So we cannot, it's just a trend which has to be stopped because people have died as a result of this. And we can no longer sit back and just do the normal reportage and say, ow, ow, and then carry on until the next by-election. Yeah. You know, I'm shocked. I was shocked at what I saw. There's no place for violence like this. It's an election. I mean, may the best person win. That's all. It's an election. Let's go there, let's cast our votes, and that's it. I mean, look at the images on the screen now. People being kicked on the ground and pulled down, kicked. I mean, it's just not necessary. What is this going to achieve? Is it going to change the results in any way? I mean, we are now talking about the violence instead of congratulating the young lady who won. And I'm always very excited when I see women in politics, you know, in parliament, you know. So let us stop this. It's not helping us in any way. And in Ghana, you know, we all know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody. So the fact that you belong to one political party doesn't mean that, you know, the person is your enemy, the other person is your enemy. We all have relatives in all the political parties. You know, we have friends in all the political parties. We are one people, one nation. So let us stop this. Please, let's just stop this. And let not people be scared to even come to the polls, because it will get to a point where there will be hardly anyone voting if we don't curb this, because they'll be scared to just even turn up just to cast their vote. I mean, you know, even in general elections, people, you know, there are policies, people just go, mostly we have sane and violent-free elections, mostly on the large part, when you especially compare it with other African states. And let's continue to wear that badge with honor, and let's stop this.
Dr. Bonfe, Now, if you just gone by in one of the visuals, you see the police officers just walking away and paving way for the guys to enter the area. I mean, what happened on Friday say about our security at these polling stations and during elections, really?
You see, I want to preface whatever I say with a comment that we live in a country where many of us, don't mean what we say. Much of us say what we don't intend or mean at all. And a few of us, very few of us, don't do as we say. So you have deception in the first instance and hypocrisy in the second. And that has engulfed our national life. Kojo, what were we doing there in the first place? There was no need. What happened in Ablekuma North had no foundation in the laws of our country, whether the 1992 Constitution or DCI. It was unwarranted, that election, so-called rerun. Elections are a creature of law. What law mandated the EC to do what they did? I have tried to comb through the national constitution and our electoral laws. At best, when elections are taking place, and this is a CI on elections, and there's a problem during the poll, interruption or obstruction of poll, and you are not able to complete, that is when you can have a rerun.
And they said that's what happened.
That's not what happened.
There was interruption. They couldn't complete.
No. I'm talking about when a poll is being conducted.
Oh, okay.
A poll.
Not
when we are
collation.
going to cast our vote. In this instance, votes were cast, ballot papers were collated, counted, results declared at every polling center in 281 of them. They were to go to a constituency collation center to collate all the 281 and declare. They were known. The results of the polls that were taken on December 7 at each of those 281 polling centers were known, were declared. Some way, somehow, some people say they don't have a full complement of their results. People, as Vicky was saying, people were seen disrupting the collation process at the polling center, picking pink sheets, destroying them. Above all, ballot boxes containing ballots at Ablekuma, some center there, were burnt, and we have people on video claiming that they did that. Not a single person has been arrested in relation to any of these. And the Electoral Commission, after about a series of 5 press conferences and press statements put together from December 9, when they told us that they were sure that the results in Ablekuma, they were going to be able to declare. Yeah. To the latest one being, I think, around June, saying that they were left with 3 polling centers to be collected, not rerun. And you capitulate. July 7, that you are going to have a rerun. And I'm asking the Electoral Commission and all those who participated that on what basis did they go for the so-called rerun? So what happened there was an illegality to start with. Now, moving further to the arguments that my sister Vicky advanced. What is this? What is this? Ghana? That an election to elect a member of parliament, I don't want to talk about past incidents. We like doing that. And then we lose sight of the issues at hand. What was the business of anybody to go attacking anybody? The way we have seen them. And as we speak now, I don't know if your media house has picked a signal that a single person has been arrested. We tend to allow or entertain criminality by endorsing them with such flowery discussions. And at the end of the day, it becomes business as usual.
Oh, look at the lady.
These are faces, people on screen. And you are telling me that our national security system cannot pick one person. The worst part, and I'm sorry, my good friends, Dr. Mani Boama and Muntaka, they were there. Proud that they were there to secure. And all this happened. Well, what are we doing to ourselves? And it brings the question. Is politics and putting oneself up for elections really about service to the people? Is this to secure the mandate of the people to come and serve them? Is that what we see? The attitude with which we show or with which we run these things? We are not committed to our democracy. That's all I will say. And so long as we are infidels to our constitution and we are not committed, there's no way we can win anything. The man who in 1992, who first went around the world, around the waters, William or Bill Pinkney, in 1992, he said something that what we need is commitment. And he did it to demonstrate that if we are committed, amplifying the principles of control, self-control, restraint, which was echoed in 1953 when the motion of destiny was first moved in Ghana's Legislative Assembly on July 10 by Kabachewura J. Brahma, who later on became Yagbonwura Timu II. That it will take self-restraint if we want to be independent people to govern ourselves towards our aspirations and our goals. This, I'm sorry, it is not of the Ghana we should have. It is not of the Ghana our forebears dreamt. It is not of a Ghana I desire. And not long ago, we celebrated our Republican status. Problematic as it was, turned into a day of prayer and thanksgiving, incongruently. What were the things that we said? And what are the things that are manifesting? We can't live a duplicitous life and expect that we will leave legacies for those who will come after us to learn of us. The examples we are leading today, Kojo, I'm sorry to say, we are not worthy of those who laid the path before us. We can do better than this.
I wanted you are an executive person, but having been in this political terrain for quite a long time, I mean, the video where the police were just pushing aside to allow the guys to pass through, I don't know, I mean, if that should have been the case. I mean, they should have prevented them from entering, not so.
Very well so. I agree with you. But the question is that, who were these guys in the first place? Who are they? What business did they have there? And what control, what command did we give to our police? Our police, they stood there helpless. Some of them were even running. You see, so it's a whole discussion. We've had this before. A whole commission was set up, the Justice Emil Short Commission.
Yeah.
And their report is there. The white paper on that report is there. Do we learn as a people? And I'm asking, Kojo, after the incident, if indeed we are dissatisfied with this, my question is that, Has a single person been invited by the police or arrested? As I sit here, the answer is no, zero.
Okay.
Unless your media house can tell us that today, as we speak,
someone has been
invited or arrested. And yet we have people on video. Shameful.
Wonder, I mean, you're also a player in this whole political circles. Doesn't what happened make you scared about our future?
Why the future and not now? I mean, it's happening now.
Yeah.
If we put in systems that will forestall some of this, violence, I don't think we should even be here in the first place. You remember in '92 when we have some minor clashes, disagreement among the political parties and all that, and the opacity of the problem of the ballot boxes and all that. The result of that, at least, government was proactive. We had the IPAC, coming on board, which provided a platform for political parties to engage and discuss and all that. I think that one of the things also we need to do is, and that's away from the discussion, is to make IPAC a body that has some, legal backing, other than just an advisory or consultative body with no such powers of compelling the EC to do some things with respect to elections. Then in '96 we had small minor clashes because we had resolved the differences between the political parties and all that. And then by 2000 we introduced the transparent ballot boxes again to resolve the issues. In that 2000 elections, there were skirmishes in places like Boku, Tamale, and parts of the Volta region. Then we were making some progress. However, the violence was getting a bit more, intense. By 2004, give or take, it was manageable because Peace Council came on board, National Commission for Civic Education. We had other, bodies from the US across the world that were interested in what we were doing at the time. In 2008, we had clashes in Tamale, in Equatia, in Techiman South, and all that. Then, if you remember, this whole discussion about election task force, this whole discussion about putting together a joint team with police and military to combat some of these, excesses. By 2012, we were on the brinks. And I have always stated that part of the reason we have challenges in our elections is that when flashpoints are produced or listed in any elections, the police do very little to ensure that some of those flashpoints are taken care of ahead of time. What you call preventive, policing or chaos or whatever of the sort, or security or whatever of the sort. And I think that's where our challenge began from 2012. It looks as though things were a bit rough. And if you remember, after 2012 elections, we had the MPP challenging the results, of the elections. And on and on and on. It took us 8 months. There were reported acts of violence and all that. Then we went to 2016. Again, we had issues. 2020 elections also had issues. And there was a change of power. A new government was in place. By 2016, a new government in place. And then we had this almighty, very, we used to hear of violence, but when we saw the Ayawaso spectacle, then we saw that, or we realized as a country that, look, this is getting beyond just the issue of disagreement. And now people are becoming violent. People wielding guns, people slapping people and And I think, if you ask me, and this is not to refer to the past, our conduct from Ayawaso has, in one way or the other, empowered the violent ones to become more violent.
But wasn't after that the Vigilantism and Other Offences Act came into being?
That's true. Mm-hmm. But to what extent has that act succeeded? One. To what extent has the Milshot report been implemented after the white paper was issued? I think that we didn't see proper punishment for people who have been engaged in that whole spectacle to serve as deterrent to others. You know, we all agree that the political parties agreed that they were disbanding their, you know, militia and all that sort. But we also agree that it is not the name we call it. It is the violence in the people who run the elections or the attitude to revenge, attitude to payback. That's what caused some of these things. And I think that the political parties themselves should also be doing some introspection. I didn't think that for an election like that, people like, and I don't want to mention names, some of the people that were actually, you know, hurt and you will see that the people who talk to those issues make references to their past. I didn't think that you had any business going there. I mean, what's the business of you coming from maybe a constituency like Tamale to Ablekuma to do what?
To support the candidate. Why? Nobody bars anybody from going anywhere.
If we were having a main election, would you have been there?
We are not, but this is not a main election.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying that. So the police needed to prevent some of those people from entering the place. 19 polling stations. What impact can you make? You couldn't win your own seats.
Yes.
What impact are you making in that place? And I'm saying that some of them were actually a mark of retaliation. Nothing, you know, nothing beyond what it is.
I'm not sure.
No.
I'm not sure.
No.
Any retaliation, whatever, you know, was, you know, needed or can be justified to say you were retaliating and that's why you went to do.
It doesn't lie in both of us. Arguments.
I understand.
For people who have taken a decision in their mind to do what they are doing.
But what we say today,
do you realize
what we
that?
say today could embolden some other people's action tomorrow.
That is why I'm saying that we have a responsibility ourselves as political parties to determine who is going there, who is not going. Because there are people who are violence prone. I mean, you just mention a name and they will say, okay, we'll show her. Or you mention a name, we'll show him. Let him show up there and we'll see what will happen.
You want to say,
and I think that I haven't mentioned names. And I'm trying hard to not to mention names. Even on the NDC side, there are people who also were there that supposedly maybe shouldn't be there. That's the truth. I mean, what's the business? 19 police stations. And you have the whole country going there. So the police were overwhelmed. They didn't even think that those numbers would be in the constituency for such elections. The Methodist polling station already, before that, was already flagged as a flashpoint.
Yeah.
In several elections, we have had some chaos in that place. What did the police do in that regard? What did we do to prevent some of those things? Why didn't we take that election into an environment where it's secure? You can't enter unless you are, a voter to enter at the periphery. So those were the lapses. There were security lapses, we agree. There were people who shouldn't be there in the first place. There were people who also were prepared for violence. We had people who had a pepper spray in their pockets and all that, and were spraying pepper spray on others. What do you expect? You watch the videos very well. In the heat of the issues or whatever, you spray pepper in somebody's face. You think I'm going to allow you to do that and get away with it? I'll certainly react. Did the
person just get up to spray, or she felt
whatever it is? It's pepper spray used for election day voting. What is the issue? Under what attack? When you do that, it will get out of hand. And I think that's why I'm saying that the individuals who even went there, some of them owe it a responsibility on themselves to be responsible. The political parties owe it on themselves to be responsible. The police have to be responsible. And if we do all this together, the culmination of it is that we can have a very free and fair elections. I can tell you that there are some people who would have wished to vote in that election, but by seeing that violence on TV, wouldn't even show up. So even voter turnout is largely affected by the peaceful manner in which the elections are being held. So we have a problem, we have a challenge, and all the political parties, including the police, Ghana Police Service, and the Interior Ministry, the Defense Ministry, and all allied agencies that regulate our elections or ensure election day operations should come together and let's do something better. It should not be whose ox is God. If it has to be that way, then we're showing some favoritism and people begin to do these things over and over and over and they get away with it. I think that we should put some sanity on some of these issues going forward.
All right. Let's see. Okay. So, but Vicky, let me come to you. Some people have said that we need to take concrete steps to restore public confidence and protect the sanctity of the vote. How can we do that? What must we do to ensure that people will have the confidence to say, yeah, we can trust in this process?
I think we need to give effect to the Vigilante and Other Offences Act. And also I think that it's important in terms of the day, election day itself. It's important that I agree with Wanda in the sense that those who don't have any business being there should not be there. Ordinarily, that should not be the case because we are all free citizens and we can go and come as we please. But it's, you know, having seen what we have seen and knowing the possibilities out there for things to deteriorate very rapidly and descend into violence, the police should make sure that those who actually enter the arena are those who have business being there. Because if you limit the numbers, it's much easier to manage from a security viewpoint, you know. So I think just, you know, just basic steps like that. Keep people away, vet everyone, check people's IDs, make sure they have some business being there. And then also, if people perpetrate these kinds of acts, make an example of them. You know, let Ghanaians understand that if they get attacked, the attackers will not get away with it. The perpetrators of these heinous crimes will not get away with it. You can't justify it by saying that, oh, someone did something and someone did something. What they did was wrong. Clearly, it was wrong. But is this the response? Is this the right response to that wrong act? You know, we need to check ourselves. It can deteriorate. All these riots and things, you know, I was reading about a 12-year-old Kenyan kid who was sitting in her house watching TV, and a stray bullet, just came and killed her. While what was she doing? She was just sitting at home watching TV as a 12-year-old child. She was where she was supposed to be. You know, and where did the stray bullet come from? Between rioting between police and people over some government issues. Yeah. But these things have a way of deteriorating into something else. So let's just not go there. Let's not justify it in any way, because two wrongs don't make a right. You know, let's not justify it in any way. Okay. I mean, all these things have happened. You know, things happened in previous elections under different administrations. You know, et cetera, but it does not justify what we... I mean, the journalist, what has she done to anyone?
Just reporting.
She's not... Yeah, she's just reporting. She's not a member. And this is what I'm talking about, these undesired effects and consequences. You know, so let's be cautious. And I think, we need to have a situation where the place is, is sanitized a bit. If you don't have any business being there, then the police should just do a cordon and make sure that only those with any business go there to vote. It's a shame, because one should be free to move in and out. Yeah. But if this is the consequence, then it's a small price for people to pay, honestly.
All right.
If members of a political party or friends of someone who went against the decision of his party not to participate, in my view, in an unruly or unlawful conduct of the EC by so-called rerun, goes to support that friend, has no business being there. What business has any hoodlum or tag that goes to attack that person? You see, we need to be very careful. I have in my hands here the white paper on the
also
West Wagon Election Violence Committee report. This is the white paper, and this is the committee's work. Even before the recommendations came, the Vigilante and Election Violence and Related Offences Act was in the process. So it outlived, in fact, it actually preempted one of the recommendations from the Emil Short Commission. And quite a number of the recommendations that were made were rejected because they were already existent. For example, the structure or the chain of command within the national security setup, which was recommended. So if anybody is asking about the implementation of the Emil Short Commission report, it is either because you haven't read the commission report or the white paper, or you haven't followed. They've been implemented. And in terms of compensation and prosecution, the white paper rejected some of the suggestions to prosecute some of the people. And this is where it is instructive. You remember Sam George? Mm-hmm. He was an MP for Ningo Pram. He was there. The white paper and the commission report established that the press conference that was held by Mr. Ofusu-Ampofo, then as chairman of the NDC, and the wild allegations that were made by Mr. Sam George before, turned out to be false. Turned out to be false.
You mean he was not attacked?
No, it's not about the attack. The allegations that they made. No, I wasn't talking. I'm not talking about his attack.
Okay.
I said the allegations that they made ahead of the commission setting. It's here. Sure. In the commission's report and in the white paper. Okay? But the point I'm making is this. One, the Ablekuma incident was needless and avoidable. I am yet to get from the Electoral Commission or anybody in Ghana the basis for the so-called rerun. The elections
that's the body mandated to.
Yes, the body mandated by the Constitution.
Yes.
And they are supposed to go by regulations.
Yes, and when they get to a point where they say, we cannot complete coalition, what option do they have?
And I'm saying that they have told us, this is their own press statement, that they were left with 3
we all
polling stations to collate, not to rerun.
Yes.
How did it, catapult to 19?
They were not.
They were going to rerun. Now it has changed from collation to rerun. I'm saying that they had no business going there in the first place, unless somebody is to prove to me. And by that, I'm saying that there was an elected member of parliament before the so-called rerun on July 11th. I'm not too sure what the court will say. But in my view, what happened was unconstitutional, and any outcome of it a nullity and void. But I don't know how the country will endorse and acquiesce to that illegality that has been visited on us. That said, I want to insist, we have video footage of persons who went there to disrupt, assault, and abuse. I will not invite President Mahama into this. I will not even invite the Minister for Defense and Ministers of Interior who were there. I will invite them into this. The police.
Okay.
My good friend Christian Yonu, you were there. Your intelligence team, I'm sure you've watched these videos. You have the names and identities of the persons who perpetrated these acts. Take action. Take action. Do something. Rely on your authority as the head of the Ghana Police Service, and let us see the law work. And see how many people can be stronger than the Constitution and the laws of our country.
Okay.
So,
Wonder.
So I hear commentaries like, if you say that the white paper was not implemented, it means you didn't read the report. I read from paragraph 6.3A. Just one of the many recommendations that the government itself accepted. And tell me if this has been implemented. The government takes note of the Commission's recommendation that Mr. Ernest Akumia, alias Dobu, must be prosecuted for the unauthorized possession of firearms under Section 1 of the 192 of the Criminal Offences Act, of course, which act is now, and refers the recommendation to the Criminal Investigations Department of the Ghana Police Service for further investigations. Tell me if that was done.
It just refers to the CID for further investigation. We need to ask the CID.
Ask him to read the comment that the owner of the paper you are holding has written there.
I'm not interested in your comment. This is what the white paper says. What does your comment go to do?
We need to find
so what has it got to do?
The issue is simple. You said that if you say that the Commission's report was not implemented, it means you didn't read. And I have read from the document of a recommendation that was made by the white paper.
I'm grateful.
Tell me if this recommendation was implemented.
Okay.
So you say I should read your comment.
Okay, I'm grateful. I'm grateful. Let's do other issues.
Let me address him.
We all know.
Let me address
after the white paper was issued, some of which things they have rejected. For instance, in that report, they claim that the events leading to some judges' attack were not true. What about the attack?
Okay, all right, that's
that
fine.
was the point I was making.
Yes, what about the attack itself?
That's fine.
The attack is...
That's fine. I'm going to you gentlemen and ladies. Let's move on and do other stories because we'll come back to...
And just to wrap up this, I think the question really is about the implementation of the Act.
Okay.
You know,
all right.
that is what... It should just be implemented. I mean, the enforcement. That's the word I was looking for.
All right.
Kojo, let me make this point. When one group disbanded their so-called vigilante groups, one did not. And it was evidence. It was evidence.
Put names to it.
Which group were on the rampage and the attack? It was the NDC group.
Please.
We read on Facebook.
It was the NDC group.
Were this honest when
it was the NDC
group? We wouldn't
it
be
was
here.
the NDC group that
if we were dishonest when it happened, I also were so good.
If one,
you wouldn't be saying this today.
One group, where were you?
Thank you.
When I also occurred.
Thank you. I'm grateful, gentlemen. I'm grateful to you.
You tell me.
Let's move on.
If I was honest.
Gentlemen, let's move on.
You don't come to this show and tell us that it is the NDC group that is in this
No.
When did this reported about the formation of these bandit groups?
Am I wrong?
Is it
obvious?
Yeah, it's very wrong.
Isn't it obvious?
Let's move on.
Was that an
It's very wrong.
Let's move on.
There is no violence.
Let's make
Was
progress.
that an NPP group?
Oh, please.
Let's make progress.
When How Akumsum was spraying,
Let's make progress. Gentlemen.
Sorry, How Akumsum was spraying.
Wonder Madilo.
You didn't see that.
Wonder.
This style of trying to be selective.
Wonder is okay.
How Akumsum
Wonder
is
is okay.
vigilante.
Thank you. I'm grateful to you, gentlemen.
How Akumsum is vigilante.
Lawyer Vicky, let's go into your paper and see which issue you want us to discuss from it. I think there was an issue you wanted us to discuss from the paper.
So
You had one on IMF that you were so keen on.
Oh, yes, it was a conversation, but I'll go over the headlines. And
Okay.
Then, yeah, so I have the Ghanaian publisher in the Ghanaian Times. The headlines for the Ghanaian publisher: Yame Nabanga behind the legal task force, minus. However, the two reject allegations. And then Baba Sam to High Court, nullified Nana Njo's illegally obtained court order. Minority to Mahama, we've just been talking about that. Act now or bear Ablekuma blood. And then for the Ghanaian Times, it talks about government accountability. And our lady, the lady securing victory.
Rabna Obing.
Yes, Obin, yes, Rabna Obin. And then unapproved, the president directing 2 ministers to address unapproved court charges. Yes. So I think the one that I was actually talking about was a story in the IMF, which I'm not sure, I think it may actually be in Wonder's paper.
Or can we check the Economic Times?
I think it was in the Economic
maybe we can check. The Economic Times is there. The Economic Times is just there.
The one.
Oh, I see. I think Babno rather has it.
Okay. Then let's take it because that's the issue you want us to go into.
It's something that I don't want to steal your,
IMF.
Anyway,
Anyway, yes. So that story really was to do with, I haven't read it in detail, but we've been hearing some reportage on that about the IMF requiring us to effectively weaken our currency, because of various reasons. Well, obviously, we need to be careful because when our currencies get weakened to a point which becomes unsustainable, we then go with a cup in hand begging for money and for help. On the other hand, when we strengthen our currency, we have all these issues and pressure to weaken the currency. So I'm very happy that so far the government has not bent to this kind of pressure to weaken our currency. Because I do know that obviously when our currency is strong, then you have the questions about the cost of imports, et cetera, and all the rest of it. But at the end of the day, a more prosperous Ghana is what we all want. We want a stable currency and a prosperous country with a hope for, the youth, for our future. So I don't think that the answer is in weakening our currency. I think we need to, so far, the Minister of Finance has been doing a great job together with the BOG And I think, BUG looking at monetary policy, etc. And I think together they should continue on the path on which they have embarked for all of our benefit.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much. James, is there something in the paper you want us to look at?
Well, I think it's on Ghana's Central Securities Depository undergoes major upgrade. New investor portal allows real-time access to investors' portfolio data. It's about digitization and ensuring that we have, less human hands interplay, but we allow things to go through an electronic system. The little I remember from my undergrad computer science class is that what you put in is what you get out. So we have GIGO, garbage in, garbage out. If our system is not built to be one with integrity, to ensure transparency, honesty, and real-time accountable reporting, our whole effort at digitization would rather worsen the situation than help us get better. So for me, what is important is to ensure that we have responsible men and women manning our digital background or framework, and ensure that when systems are developed, when we have softwares developed for us, we can bet on their integrity and ensure that they are, devised to serve the very purpose for which we authorized its makeup or construction. That said, I think that there's also the need to ensure that we have, routine or regular checkup of evaluation of whatever systems that we put in place. Because whatever human beings create has limitations.
Some limitations,
and it has lifespan. So we have to make sure that at all times it is serving the purpose and it is up to date in its performance delivery. That's what I would say.
Okay. All right. Do you wonder? Is that a story you want?
Forex stability offers relief to fuel sector. You know that the fuel sector in Ghana has become the driver of everything else now. You're talking about power, you're talking about businesses, and you're talking about industrialization, and you're talking about transport. And so that is of much concern. I'm told that every month, the Chamber of Bulk Oil Distributors need about $400 million to import fuel into this country. And that will aggregate to about 4.8 billion yearly. I'm told that this time around they are getting their dollars, and that's why we're seeing prices at very relatively low rates and all that. Forex, exchange also has been very stable, and I think that is a good, call for all of this that is happening in Ghana at the moment.
Okay.
When the Ghana Gas, phase 2 comes on board, I also sincerely believe that we will see more stability on the side of the CD to the dollar than we are seeing right now. And then fuel prices, prices of goods and services can be kept at a very minimal level. Inflation in Ghana is always driven by very few things, fuel, and then, agriculture or food prices and all that. And so, and one triggers the other almost all the time. And I think it will be important that government keeps forex at a very minimally, low rate. And that will dovetail into what Madam said concerning the IMF request for forex, whatever. I think that Ghana should focus on what we are doing. Whatever we're doing that is getting it right, let's focus on that. Do it more, sustain the exchange rate, and then we can all have, some relief. Even our debt portfolio will reduce significantly if we keep our forex at a very good, rate.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I'm grateful. You prompted that you wanted to have a word on something.
Yes, just an appeal. We have a lot of Ghanaian students abroad who are facing dire hardship in schools, those who are on scholarship on government scholarships through the Scholarship Secretariat. So I think they have been pleading for some help from the Scholarship Secretariat here to pay their fees, because some of them have been thrown out of school and they might have to come back, etc. And some are almost done with their studies. So it would be good for
the government to step in.
Yeah, for them to step in to assist our people.
All right. Just before...
It's just not good that it's only African countries that experience this, because we are not the only nationals out there studying abroad.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. I wonder, just before you come in, we should also note maybe people who have not heard or read, former President of Nigeria, Muhammadu Buhari,
yes,
you know, has died. He died aged 82, according to the sources in Nigeria. And a statement from the President of Nigeria, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, he died in London after a prolonged illness, and that the Vice President of Nigeria has been sent to London to accompany the body back to Nigeria. So that is the story coming from Nigeria.
May his soul rest in peace,
Sure.
and condolences to
Nigerian brothers and sisters.
in Nigeria.
Over the weekend, I chaired an event, the Soma Tutuza Festival Launch. I'm inviting all Ghanaians. It's a beauty to behold, display of cultural and our strength as the people of Soma. And you will know that we play a very critical role in the advancements of democracy. We give Ghana the biggest revenue as a border town and all that. And so we would invite them somewhere in September. The main event will be taking place. My brother now will be coming. But he'll be donating a lot of money to us.
In September, it means that you'll be competing with my Kundum beats in a Hunter West. We'll see what we'll do.
Join news must be very live.
Thank you very much for being part of this. This has been the news segment. And those who helped us do this, Wanda Madilo is a member of the NDC's communications team. James Kwabena Bomfe, PhD, a CEO of Sensors and a lecturer at UPSA, and lawyer Vicky Bright is a lawyer and an entrepreneur. We'll take a break. We'll be back with more, please. You stay with us.